Hello and welcome to the FilmPulse.net podcast. This is episode number 113. My name is Adam. With me today we have Kevin. How the hell are you, Kevin?
Not too bad.
Happy Easter.
Sure.
You got big plans?
I don't know. Why do people keep asking me this?
Yeah, I'm not doing anything either.
I don't know. I didn't even know Easter was a holiday.
If the grocery store's open, I think I'm going to go grocery shopping. That's my big plan.
There you go. I don't know how many people I've had to ask me, what are you doing for Easter? And it's like, when have I ever celebrated Easter?
This week we'll be going over some of what we've been watching before getting into two feature reviews. This week we'll be talking about the festival film Broken Hill Blues, which just screened at Tribeca, and then we'll be talking about Zack Parker's Proxy, which hits theaters and video on demand this weekend. And finally, we'll be going over this week's movie predictions and DVD and Blu-ray releases. All right, let's get into some of what we've been watching. I saw Enemy. I know you saw this last week, saw it this week. This is one of these movies that after my initial viewing, I liked it a lot.
Okay.
The longer I sat with it, the more I liked it. Because I started picking it apart and realizing just how fucking crazy this movie is and just how layered it is and how many little clues they give you throughout the movie, and it's just so expertly crafted. I love it. And I love the look, the cinematography, fucking awesome. I love the color palette in this movie.
Yes. It looks diseased.
I think I like the music a lot, too. I didn't write that in my notes, but I seem to remember really being impressed with the music. It had this kind of, almost like a Hitchcock feel to it.
Yeah, it's sort of got that menacing vibe to it.
Very suspenseful, but I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. I am now a huge fan of Nicholas Bolduc, who did the cinematography. He also did the cinematography for War Witch.
Yeah, and that movie looked great, too.
Oh man, everything is just so beautiful looking, even though that it's very disturbing.
Oh yeah. And I don't want to give anything about the plot away because it's really important that you know nothing about this movie.
Well, that's what I loved about it. It's just it just dropped you in.
Yeah.
It just got started, and I mean, it's been a while since my eyes have been glued.
Yeah.
To the screen. Like I didn't want to stop.
And the thing about it that impressed me the most, I think, was Jake Gyllenhaal's performance. Now, I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I like most of the things that he's in. I think he's a great actor, but I feel like this role for him just was incredible. I mean, to me, this should be an Oscar-worthy role, and I don't think he'll get nominated for it or anything. But the thing that impressed me the most was the subtle differences between the two roles, the two characters that he played. It was almost...
He essentially gets to play two different roles because they're essentially complete opposites.
But just his mannerisms and things like that, there's just these subtle differences between those two characters. And I thought that he did that so well, especially with the Adam character and how he would talk. Like his mannerisms were similar, but the way that he would talk, he seemed much more nervous and kind of frantic, and he would like stutter a lot.
He's a lot more apprehensive than the other character, the doppelganger, who was just like almost overly confident and arrogant.
Yeah, exactly. And I would highly recommend checking this out.
Me too. You're going along and you think, you pretty much have it figured out. You're following it. You're like, all right, I know where this is going. I know what's going on here. And then he'll just throw in some bizarre imagery.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, what?
And I loved it. I thought it was great. There's a really great video online on YouTube that explains the whole movie, or at least that person's theory. And
Yeah.
I would recommend checking that out. I can't remember the name of it
I
actually.
gotta, I forgot to do that. I wanted to write down mine because I knew that me and you wouldn't be really getting into
Right.
because you don't want to give it away or anything. But I wanted to do that and send it to you and see what you thought. Maybe we'll talk about it some other time.
We talked about it a little
Ooh,
bit off the air, but
well, maybe we'll talk about it like towards the end of the year. Rewatch it,
yeah.
discuss it.
But yeah, definitely recommend checking that out. I believe it may still be in theaters in some areas, but it's also, if you have DirecTV, you can get it on demand. So
Oh,
yeah, check that
jeez.
out. Enemy.
My first movie was Joe,
Joe.
David Gordon Green's Joe,
Joe.
and
Joe it up.
I Joed it up all over the place. And
Sounds kind of dirty.
it does, doesn't it? Now that you think about it a little bit. This, I mean, a lot of people were saying that this is like his return to form and everything. So I was pretty excited. Plus, you got Nick Cage in there. And I have to say, it is not like a return to form at all. This movie is unbelievably uneven. Tonal issues throughout. Just, it would be, he would try and go for that like uber serious emotional depth and then turn around and just do like campy humor that just didn't work for me.
Yeah,
I
see,
liked both of them. I liked both of them separately, but I didn't like them together.
mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can see that. The humor worked for me. Like I liked it. Of course, the other thing is that I saw this at South by Southwest with Nicolas Cage and David Gordon Green there in the audience, and it was a festival atmosphere, so I'm sure that
Yeah.
you know.
I'm happy that he's sort of toned down the whole Malick structure that some of his films used to take, where, it'd be like small scene, then a shot of nature, then small scenes, shot of nature, shot of royal decay, small scene. He seems to have gotten away from that, which
Mm-hmm.
makes me very, very happy because I'm sick and tired of that. But Nick Cage, I mean, I love the guy, but he's ridiculous.
I loved him in
And
this.
I mean, I just want someone to make a movie where they just let him go. Just let him be crazy Nick Cage. Because that was my problem, is he would do the crazy Nick Cage scenes, with my favorite being bam, like a fistful of dollars, which made no fucking sense at all. And then him like trying to show Ty Sheridan how to make a cool face. Those types of things are great because it's Nick Cage. But then when you immediately turn around and try and make me like try and feel some like emotional weight involving Nick Cage, it just comes off as hilarious. Like I can't take the guy seriously when he's being crazy Nick Cage in the movie. I can't do it. And then
I didn't. I thought he was more subdued in this, though.
I know, but
Than
even subdued Nick Cage is still pretty crazy Nick Cage. You gotta admit. I mean,
yeah.
did you see his orgasm in this movie? Even his orgasm is crazy.
Oh
Nuts.
yeah, it was
Because
awesome.
it's just like, what's your favorite color? Red? Blow me. It's just, what the fuck? Why is that scene even in there?
Yeah, he does. He does go off the rails a few times, which I liked. I wanted to see that, but
I do like. It's just, I want that, but at the same time, it's hard for me to take him seriously when you try and, steer the ship back into serious emotional waters with the rest of the film. It's just, it's hard for me to go that way because I'm still laughing from him saying bam like a fistful of dollars for no reason whatsoever. And
now there was one question I had for you. You weren't a big fan of Mud either,
no,
if I remember correctly.
no, I didn't.
And this. I mean, everybody's comparing this to Mud with good reason. This is very similar to
Hmm.
Mud. Which one did you like more?
Phew, that's a tough one. I'd say they're like pretty much equal.
I give the advantage to Joe. I had a better time with
I
Joe.
Yeah, I definitely had a better time with Joe, but the acting in Mud was a little bit better, mostly because of what was that kid's name? Neckbone.
Mm-hmm.
I like Neckbone. Jacob Laughlin, I think his name was. I
Well,
thought
I
it
think
was.
Ty Sheridan does a all right job.
I know, but now I'm worried that he's gonna get stuck.
Well, when you look at his last three
Yeah,
movies, yeah, I'd say he's stuck.
Just, and then the thing that really got me is number one, you have Ronnie Jean Blevins with his whole "I've been through a windshield and I just don't give a fuck." Like he just keeps saying it over and over again. It just becomes farcical and ridiculous. And then after he has his sort of scene there at the end, then they go into like really, really sappy territory with the piano music playing and like Ty Sheridan hugging Cage, and then, slow motion shots of birds flying, and Ty
Yeah,
Sheridan getting this new job where he plants little seedlings. It's just like, give me a fucking break.
yeah, it didn't bother me. I wasn't bothered
I
by that at all.
Now
There, see,
the one thing I will say is Gary Poulter, the homeless man that played Ty Sheridan's dad in this movie, G-Dog. That guy was fucking unbelievable.
he was amazing, and
He
I
is
think
amazing.
I think I did. I think I mentioned in my review that I thought that he was the best part of this movie. What you
Easily.
drinking?
Yeah. The fact I mean, he's and then out of nowhere he just starts popping and locking
Yeah,
while sitting on the ground
just G
completely
Dog.
drunk. G-Dog popping and locking, drunk. And he was actually pretty fucking good for being drunk and sitting on the ground and being like
And an old
60,
man,
yeah, being like
an old
60,
white man.
being like 60 some years old. It's just unfortunate that he like passed away like what, like a couple weeks after they stopped shooting or finished up shooting.
Yeah.
Maybe it
Well,
hit a bit too close to home for him.
I don't know, but he was great. He was great.
He nailed it.
Hey, you looking at?
He nailed it, dude. It's sort of sad when you have a homeless man who's never acted before outshines every single person in the film.
Yeah.
Goes to show you how fucking easy it is to act.
Well, and also it could have been like, well, I don't know. I was gonna say maybe it was just how David Gordon Green directed him. I mean,
Could be.
I think a lot of that goes to the credit of the director.
I do enjoy how he does that. It sort of has that mixture of local
Oh yeah, I
local
thought that was
flavor
great
with
because I really liked the whole work crew.
it.
Like
The work crew is
Cage,
awesome.
I liked all the stuff, like the little banter that they would have, the conversations that they'd have back and forth, and yeah, I liked all that.
It's enjoyable. I mean, you have a fun time with it, but as like a serious film, it's not good. But it's
I
fun.
disagree.
It's fun.
I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I mean, I didn't think it was amazing or anything, but I thought it was a good watch if you're a fan of David Gordon Green. And see, I like these kinds of movies. I like the look of these movies, so it's almost like a guilty pleasure for me at this point.
It is one of your guilty pleasure
Mm-hmm.
genres, that royal decay.
Yep, I love it. I love it. I don't know why.
Totally into it though.
Yep. Let's see. I saw, so what, light recommend for Joe?
Light recommend, yeah.
It's on demand right now, so you can check that out, and it's also playing in theaters. I saw Viva Sa Vie,
Ooh.
directed by Jean-Luc Godard.
Oh shit. Look at you. All cultured and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I I haven't seen a lot of Godard movies, and I don't know what people think, but I don't want to come off as being that I don't like French New Wave films, because I do. I just don't watch them on a regular
Yeah, I
basis.
think people should hopefully they at this point know that I'm really into French New Wave and it's sort of a running thing where you sort of tease me for it.
Yeah, but it's not that I don't like, that time in cinematic history. I don't like it's this movie was great. I love this movie. I thought there were certain aspects of it that I thought were a little strange that didn't seem to fit the scene where she was writing the letter, and it just stuck with her writing the entire letter. I was feeling very impatient during that. I was just like, hurry up. You can't write faster? Like, are you serious? We can't get this letter done. And it just stuck with it the whole time. And also the guy doing the impression of the boy with the balloon. I don't know if you
See,
remember
no,
that.
see, this is one of those movies where I really don't remember anything. I remember the sort of the billiards room
That's where it
scene.
happened. That
Okay.
scene is
And
is
then
where the
like the
the man
end.
doing, yeah.
Remember the very end.
So that bothered me. The man doing the impression of the child with the balloon. I just thought it was kind of dumb, and it lingered on that for too long. And the end, I felt I was not very impressed with the end because I didn't understand why they they shot her. Like, why would they shoot her? It didn't make sense to me because they were trying to do like a trade-off, and he was trying to sell her to that other guy, and then like shit hit the fan. The one dude shoots her, and then the other guy shoots her.
Yeah.
Like, and the first guy looked like he did it by accident. Looked like he was trying to shoot the guy, but the second guy deliberately shoots her, and I'm like, okay,
That's right.
that was like her guy. I just didn't understand why that
Well, you got
went down. It seemed unbelievable.
Well, you gotta remember she's a prostitute. They don't really give a shit about her.
Yeah, but it's still just the way that was framed. It just felt weird. But other than that, which those are just nitpicks more than anything. I thought that it looked great. Anna Karina was amazing in it. It was pretty good. I mean, the reason that I watched this, there was a reason behind it. I didn't just like randomly watch it. A film was submitted to us recently called She Lives Her Life, and it was heavily influenced by this movie. So I decided that I wanted to watch this movie to see where those influences were, since I've never saw it. And basically, She Lives Her Life is a remake of this movie, but done. It has a different plot. So the camera work is almost identical, like almost shot for shot, but the dialogue is different, and the general plot, whereas this movie is about a woman who becomes a prostitute. Then She Lives Her Life is about a woman who is a landlord and owns a pawn shop.
Okay.
And a lot of the scenes are exactly the same. I mean, camera movements, different, like there's several times in the Godard movie where they break the fourth wall and she looks directly into the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And they do that in this movie. The letter writing, which I will say in the new one.
Do they speed it up in the new one for you?
It's not nearly as long. The billiard room scene, like all that stuff, it's the exact same, but it's a contemporary setting and the plot's different. But it's really interesting how they did it with the new one, because it's essentially still the life story of a female protagonist, but it's told in a different way.
Yeah.
So it was pretty interesting. I looked at it as more of an experiment than anything.
Yeah.
I think that it's a tough movie to make because fans of Godard will see.
Yeah, they're not going to be on board with that.
Yeah, they're going to see it and they're going to be like, no. No. It's a micro budget. It's a micro budget film too, so the acting's not great and the sound editing is not great. The music is horrible.
Mm.
But the thing that is kind of its saving grace is the cinematography, which is really good.
And also you got to keep in mind that's how the French New Wave worked, because they were all very low budget films by people that were never filmmakers. They just sort of revolutionized the way indie filmmakers would make movies.
Did you see Godard has a new movie that's premiering at Cannes?
I did see that.
You excited for that?
No, I'm not as excited about his later work. He's gotten a bit too much in the past couple of years.
Well, either way, I do recommend checking out Vivre sa vie. Probably mispronouncing that.
No, we never do that. I want to rewatch that now, I must say.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Maybe I'll check out, what was the title of the other one?
She Lives Her Life.
She Lives Her Life. Okay.
I don't think it's out yet, but should be coming out sometime soon.
Well, I watched Captain Phillips. The old Captain Phillips.
Oh, Captain Phillips?
Cap Phillips over here. Paul Greengrass, who I've never seen a Paul Greengrass film, and I don't like him, even though I just said that I haven't seen. Or have I?
You have.
What have I seen?
You watched the Bourne movies, didn't you?
Did he do the first one?
I think he did. Oh no, I'm sorry, he didn't. He
Yeah.
did Ultimatum and Supremacy.
Yeah, that's right. I only saw the first one. I haven't seen the subsequent ones yet. Yeah, I mean, this guy just doesn't make anything that I'm into. Green Zone, United 93.
I didn't see United '93. I did see Green Zone and didn't like it.
And I mean, we talked about Captain Phillips a couple of times, I think, where I
Yeah,
just no,
you weren't into
I
it.
was not into it at all. This was a wife pick. She picked the old Captain Phillips, and I thought, why not? You know, something light, Hollywood style.
Something light.
I just to me Hollywood films are light. It
Uh,
doesn't take any thought on my end. You know, I just sit down, turn the brain off, and just be entertained. You know what I mean?
Veg. Just
Yeah,
veg.
just veg out. You know
Just
what I'm
veg
saying?
out, man.
And I mean, you know, number one is Paul Greengrass. I'm not into it at all. It's a Hollywoodized account of the 2009 Somali pirate hijacking. I'm not a big fan of Hollywood films. You know that as well as anyone. So my expectations were low. I mean, really low. And I gotta say that I was extremely surprised by how much I liked this film. The it stumbled out of the gate a little bit with the whole ride to
Right,
the
yeah.
airport where I mean
Mm-hmm. And
the
how
dialogue in that sequence is just so terrible.
yeah, and how they showed him checking all the safety things beforehand and
I mean, it felt like the end of Lincoln, you know, where like Lincoln's going off to the play and everyone's
yeah.
already acting like he's been
Yep.
assassinated. Like
Yep.
that's what I thought with the beginning of this film. Like it feels like he's already been hijacked. Like he knows.
Everybody knows
Yeah,
it's
it's
gonna
sort
happen.
of ridiculous. But once they get past that part, everything's great. I mean, just the pacing of the whole thing, the way everything plays out, the cinematography I thought was pretty good for, you know, there's not there's not that much action in this film, but I think the cinematography sort of added to it, sort of upped the tension
Mm-hmm.
and the excitement of what was going on, even though it's mostly just, you know, people standing around threatening each other and posturing, really. And I have to say, I was really surprised that the performance Tom Hanks gives. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
ever
it's funny because everybody talks about that last scene, that last 5 minutes, and it's like I'm almost sick of people talking about it, but at the same time, it's amazing.
he does, yeah,
Like
he
it's
kills it.
so
He
amazing.
absolutely kills it. And my favorite part of that, pretty much like right before they execute, you know, the plan and he's tied up and everything, and then everything from that point on, the thing that really struck me is that Greengrass showed enough restraint to not use melodramatic music during that sequence, which is
Right.
one of the main things that I hate about Hollywood movies. They always put in that emotionally manipulative score in there, which just irritates the shit out of me. But here in this sequence, they just keep it silent. So you can't, and this is something that I don't understand with filmmakers is they think that, you know, the emotional string heavy score, like I don't know, like they think that it amplifies the emotion, but it actually drowns it out. And here, when you keep it silent, like you can't escape it. It's there. The
Right.
emotion's there. You can't get away. And it's just done so perfectly.
I think that in some cases, you know, a score does heighten the emotional level of a scene, but in other cases, like in this, having it be silent does exactly what you just said, where it's more effective.
Yeah, much more. And then the Barkhad Abdi, I figured, you know, is another one of those roles where they're like, okay, we get an outsider that plays a very niche role, does a pretty good job at it. We'll throw him a nomination, and then we will never give him another job ever again, which is something that seems to be done a lot recently in the past couple of years with these Oscar nominated films where they get a guy that just perfectly fits into what they want and then they just sort of wash their hands of him. But man, did he show an immense amount of nuance in his performance, especially towards the end when he starts getting affected by being in the lifeboat and his
Mm-hmm.
cut up hand and just him being like a broken down man, but he still keeps going and just I thought he did a fantastic job. And like towards the end, I started feeling bad for the Somali pirates because
Hmm.
they were just so naive. They didn't see what was going to happen. And and Captain Phillips knows what's going on. He
He
knows that
knows.
they're going to kill these guys, and if he survives, cool. If he doesn't, who cares? That's sort of the way that the U.S. military is looking at this because they have to make a statement. They want to save Captain Phillips, but if he doesn't, they're willing to take that risk. And these
I would
Somali
also,
pirates are like, "Oh, we have you. There's nothing they can do to us." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't mean anything to them."
yeah, but I think that this also is a good example of a movie that is, I don't want to say pro military, but that just that scene was so badass,
Oh, it's
but
so impressive.
I didn't feel that it was done in any kind of like pandering way or anything like Act of Valor or was the one the the Peter Berg one that just came out, Lone Survivor.
Oh yeah.
Like I didn't feel it was like a recruitment tool or something like
No,
that. Just the way it was almost like it was kind of like how I felt about Zero Dark 30, where
no,
it was done in a very
it's the way that the military should be shown
right.
in my view is they came in, no talking, no nothing, just came in, did their job, left. That's it.
And it was awesome.
Yeah, that's it. They just impressed you with what they did. Flawless execution, and then just walked off like it
And
was a
that
day
was
at the office.
yeah, and that was the thing. How after they did what they did, they just immediately packed up and walked away.
Hmm.
Like that was it.
Yeah.
I love that that's what they showed afterwards. Like
It's
it was
just,
great.
yeah. I mean, I'm not like a big military guy or pro-America guy, but you can't deny it. It's fucking impressive as hell. Just the
Of
way that they
course.
set that up. Oh my God.
Yeah. Captain Phillips, check that out. Is that
That's
on Netflix at this point?
that is on Netflix.
Yeah. So definitely check that out if you haven't yet. I saw Wolf Creek 2.
Ooh.
Now, see, I was a big fan of the first Wolf Creek. I saw it, I guess, when did the first one come out? Like 2000, it was a while ago, 2005. So I was pretty excited about the sequel. It's directed by the same guy, Greg McLean, and I knew that from seeing the trailer, reading the synopsis, that it was kind of focusing on Mick Taylor, the guy who is the killer in the first Wolf Creek. So I was kind of excited about that, but in the end, it's just not that good.
Oh,
It goes to some interesting places because the first one is just a straight up horror movie. It's inspired by true events of these people that I don't know if they went missing at Wolf Creek or if they were murdered. I think they were missing. And it's a straight up horror movie, the first one. It's like a typical slasher movie, but it's very well done. And that's kind of what Greg McLean does. He takes conventional horror genres and kind of does them in a really interesting and unique way. That's what he did with Rogue. Rogue was like, it's about a killer crocodile, and it sounds ridiculous. And when you look at the cover, it looks like it's a sci-fi movie cover, but it was really good, and it had this kind of humor to it that made it interesting and worth checking out. With Wolf Creek 2, it's a much more satirical approach to it. There's a lot of goofy kind of goofball comedy in it, and it's sort of poking fun at the whole slasher genre, but at the same time, it just falls into the same conventions. So at the end of the day, it's really nothing more than a slasher movie, but there's nothing scary about it because we're spending the whole time with the killer.
yeah.
That being said, the character of Mick Taylor, who I look at him like an Australian Freddy Krueger, where he's got like all these funny one-liners and quips, and he's kind of a charismatic guy,
Yeah.
but he's so sadistic and evil, but he's fun to watch on screen. There's nothing scary about it though,
Mm.
and I don't know if it's supposed to be scary. I mean, it's very gory and violent, like viciously violent. I mean, some of the things that happen in this movie are just It's very, very bad. And so if fans of gore, they'll have a lot to like in this. One of my favorite scenes is it's a car chase, and there's a lot more action in this one too. There's like some big car chases and some big explosions that occur. There's a car chase where there's a guy in a Jeep who is being chased by Mick Taylor, who's driving an 18-wheeler, and a kangaroo stampede breaks out.
Ooh.
And all of a sudden, and it plays the Lion Sleeps Tonight song.
Oh my goodness.
And while that song's playing, Mick Taylor is just plowing through like hundreds of kangaroos as they cross the road, and they're getting like caught up in the tires and flipping up onto the windshield, and there's just blood everywhere, and it's ridiculous. It is completely ridiculous.
Oh,
and then
goodness.
The guy thinks that he's escaped. He flips off of a cliff and he survives, and he gets out of his Jeep, which is destroyed. And he thinks that he got away, and all of a sudden he looks up over the cliff, and the 18-wheeler is flying off the cliff down onto it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he drives an 18-wheeler onto this guy.
So he uses an 18-wheeler as like a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Like as a projectile.
Yeah, so there are some fun moments, but
goodness.
Overall, I could probably only recommend this if you were a big fan of the first one. If you like the first one a lot, this is worth checking out just to have more of this crazy Mick Taylor fella. But other than that, it's pretty mediocre. Like, it's a pretty generic slasher movie.
Except for the mowing down kangaroos.
Except for those, yeah. And that's the thing, like, you see a scene like that is completely over the top and ridiculous, but there's really not any other scenes similar to that for the rest of the movie. So it's like it takes these like tonal shifts, and you're just like, okay, is this supposed to be goofy or is it supposed to be serious now?
Yeah.
And it's just that's one thing I had a problem with, because if it's supposed to be over the top and ridiculous, then be over the top and ridiculous. You know, like one of the scenes shortly after that, the kid gets away and he ends up taking refuge in this old couple's home, and Mick Taylor finds him and just like brutally slaughters this old couple. And you're like, wait a minute, this isn't funny or goofy anymore. It's just horrible.
Make you rethink. Make you rethink what you're enjoying.
Yeah. So at any rate, and I love how they still tack on the inspired by true events, even on the sequel.
It's
like,
still
there's
completely based on true events.
There is nothing about this that's true at all.
It is unfortunate how that, like, you can't trust that at all anymore. Like,
No,
you can throw
no.
that on anything.
Yeah, absolutely. So, very light recommend. That's on video on demand right now.
Ooh. I watched a movie, I think it's based on true events, The Raid 2. Is that based
Oh,
on?
you saw the raid too.
I did see The Raid 2. My double migraine experience has abated, so I was able to make it out and see The Raid 2, which, first off, two things that really don't have anything to do with the movie. First one, the people that I saw it with was awesome. The crowd was just bizarre. First off, it was just me, my wife, and there was one other couple there that had to be like 60, 70 years old.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. And then some young kids came in, and then this like 50-year-old couple came in, which I will get to them now. This is the first time I ever had this happen. Someone answering their phone during a movie.
Ugh.
I've never had that happen before. And what made this even better is there was actually an usher, doing his pass-through, walk-through type deal with this little flashlight cone thingy that he has. He did like 3 or 4 pass-throughs, and the last one that he did, the guy's phone was ringing when he was doing his pass-through. So I'm thinking, oh, here we go. He's going to handle this. He just walked right back out of the theater.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, what the fuck is the point of you at all? I don't understand it. There's no point for you to exist in this arena. So the guy answers his phone, and it's just like, hello? Clear as day. You can hear him. And then he's just like, hey, can I call you back? And I'm just like, but why? Why even answer the phone? Why answer the phone just to say I can't talk?
Yeah, it's
I don't get it. And I've noticing recently all the times that this happens, all these terrible experiences that I have at the movie theater with just terrible audience members, they're always like 40 to 50 years old.
Yeah.
And then I always try and they always try and pass off that bullshit that like young kids, 20-year-olds and teenagers, they're the ones that are disrespectful and just don't care about anything and have no manners. And that's simply not true because I've never had once had a bad time at a movie theater with, teenagers or young adults. I never run into that problem.
Yeah, for the most part, the anytime I have an issue, it's with an older couple as well. When I went to see Oculus, I had a similar experience with an older. It was two older women that were sitting behind us, and they were just awful.
Just awful, awful people. I can't take it anymore. It's getting to me. But back to the raid 2. Yes, please, and more. Just more and more. And like I've never understood preteen teenage girls losing their shit over like One Direction. I've never understood that until now because
Yeah, now you understand.
that's how I feel with every fight scene in the Raid 2. Because it was ridiculous. It's just like, okay, let's do a fight scene in a bathroom stall. And I'm like, sure, let's do it. And then the next and I love how they set it up. You know when the fight scene is culminating because
They always do
they
that.
go into the
Yeah,
slow-mo and they do the whole intro. And the rain's coming down, there's mud everywhere on the second fight scene. I'm just like, yes, in a mud field. I like this. All right, let's
hmm
do it. And then just every single one is just done to perfection. The only thing that I didn't enjoy, and minor quibbles, because to me it's a perfect action movie. I've never seen an action movie like this, and it just sets the bar way, way, way too high, and I don't think it's
yeah,
ever going to be surpassed.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's not going to happen. I'm
I think the
sorry.
only person that can surpass this is Gareth
Yeah,
Evans.
that's it. That's it. That's the only person that could do it. The CGI blood, just that was tough. That was
See,
tough to get past.
I wasn't bothered by that because they didn't just use
I
CG
know,
blood.
but
They
that sort of bothered me even more because I could tell when it was and when it wasn't. It's just, but again, it's a minor quibble. It's a minor.
Well, I mean, yeah, we talked about it the other week when we reviewed it on the show, and I wrote a review, but I have minor quibbles with it too. I'm not saying that I mean, I don't think any movie is a perfect movie, but
No.
as far as action, like
Yeah.
if you
Oh yeah.
boil it down by genre, it is a perfect action movie.
Hmm.
Like to me, I said it before, it's right up there with like Terminator 2 and Die Hard.
It's better than those movies.
I think
In
that
my
it's
in my estimation, it's better than those movies, or in my opinion. I mean, I've never been so tense
now there
in
was
fight scenes before. I mean, I could feel myself just like tensing up into a ball because I'm just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, this is amazing.
yeah. What'd you think of the car chase?
Jesus Christ, are you kidding me? That's what I mean. Like they're just trying to top the last thing that you just saw. Like
Hmm.
they're doing the car scene or the car chase and everything, and I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna fight in a speeding car in the back seat, and then they do, and it's amazing.
I
All of it's
love
amazing.
this is all stuff I've said before, and I apologize, but I can't say enough about this movie. I love the camera work in this movie so much. I think that Gareth Evans I think that the camera work is what really makes these movies so fun to watch.
And that's I'm glad that you say that because this is a big point for me is yes, like in this instance, the Raid 2 is there's more of a story here, there's more of a narrative, and it's not just nonstop action from start to finish, like the first one was, you know. So this one, you have a lot of those transitional non-fight scenes that are trying to, push the narrative along. This sort of, underworld crime story that they got going on with corrupt policemen, politicians, and everything. So you have all these sequences, which in normal action movies, they're just shot, bland, boring.
Right.
Just, let's just bang it out real
It's
quick, and
just
then we get to the
yes.
next set piece.
Hmm.
But in this sequence, in this film, the way that they shoot those scenes are interesting enough to hold your attention until the next fight scene. Like the way the movie opens up over the green fields,
Hmm.
just like rustling in the wind and everything, and all the actions taking place down in that small left-hand corner. I mean, it's just interesting framing choices like that. And like when he gets released from prison and it's the overhead shot and
Mm-hmm.
they put the font up at the top that 2 years later, and then uh, Uko's characters like walks through the actual wording. I mean, stuff like that. Just a
Yeah,
little,
it's little things like that. Like when he's talking on the cell phone with the music playing,
mhm.
and he puts his finger in his ear and it mutes
Yeah,
the music. And I said this before, like the one scene when it was like the big fight scene with Hammer Girl and Batboy and the guy with the blades, the slow zooming in on the one blade of grass, and then finally like the blood sprays on it, and you're just like, uh-oh. And
yeah,
then
yeah.
the big action starts. And the I think one of my favorite shots, and again, I apologize, I've said this before, is during the car chase when the camera goes from inside one car, out of that car, into another car, and then out of that car.
Yeah, there's just the camera work
And
is
you should, if you haven't checked out the making of, you should watch it. It's on Vimeo.
well,
It's
okay.
like, there's two parts. It's like 20, maybe 25 minutes long. It's awesome to
The
see how they did it.
the only the only thing that I have that's maybe a little bit more of a minor quibble is the baseball bat boy. I thought his character was just fucking stupid. I thought it was the dumbest thing I've seen
Well,
in quite some time. Just him hitting baseballs at people and
I th-
that
I
could
thought it was
hurt.
cool looking. I mean, those two characters, Hammer Girl and the baseball bat boy, are silly. I mean,
They're silly.
they're
Hammer,
cartoons. I mean, they're
Hammer Girl's a little bit better because they're hammers, and that's pretty cool. I mean, it's completely undoable because those hammer claws would have to be insanely sharp.
maybe they were. They
Maybe
might be special,
it might be
special hammers.
special hammer claws, but man, that the end fight scene in the kitchen is just holy shit.
It's brilliant. It's a
That's
brilliant film.
oh my God. I wanted to just start it over again. Like as soon as it was done, I was just like, pop it back in, let's do it.
I know. I can't wait till it comes out on Blu-ray and I can watch all the special features and stuff. And
The only thing that I do find odd, I didn't get to read through a lot of reviews, but I read through a couple where there were some people that thought it was terrible. They gave it, like 1 star, half star, 2 star type deal. And they're like, oh, the story's shit. Are you
well,
really?
I disagree with that.
You're here for the story? Really?
Well, even if, I mean, first of all, you have a point. You shouldn't be there for the story. You should judge it on its action merits because that's what it is. It's an action movie. But I would argue that the story is quite good. Like
Yeah, I mean the
I,
story
I
to me the
remember.
story's not bad. It's serviceable enough to but you also got to think these types of martial arts movies where a guy's fighting like 50 people and all these big action set pieces with martial arts fighting, what storyline would make sense for that? I mean, there's really nothing. You have two options. You have the underground, criminal world where, and then they all play out the same. It's always there's a guy at the top and one of the guys at the lower ends of the spectrum wants to be at the top, so he double crosses. That's all you usually ever see. Or it's like a tournament, which no one wants to see that. No one wants
Mhm.
to be like, oh, a slap tournament. I mean, what do you expect? What kind of story could they bring to this where you'd be like, damn, that's good. That's really good.
Well, I thought that the story was quite good. I mean, one of the first reviews that came out of Sundance, I can't remember who wrote it, but he compared it to The Godfather 2, and then from there that kind of snowballed, and then everybody was kind of comparing it to The Godfather 2, and I mean, I can see that with this movie. I think that it's a huge the scope of the story in this movie is very big. I mean, you have all these dueling families and factions, and I think that that was the big surprise to me. Like, I knew that the action would be good. What I didn't know is that it would be this kind of broad crime movie.
Yeah.
It was actually good.
Yeah, because I have to say I was a little worried going in because I knew talking to you a little bit and from what I've seen that there was more of a story to this one. And I thought, oh man, I have a feeling that he's going to stumble with the storytelling aspect of this. But I thought he handled it quite well.
Yeah, yeah. There you have it. I think the Raid 2 is still playing in theaters if you're lucky. So go see that if you haven't. I saw a movie called The Final Member, which is a documentary about a guy who has a penis museum in Iceland,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about his quest to find a human specimen to complete his collection.
Now, what's going to complete the penis collection? Like,
A
what's?
human penis.
Oh, that's it. That's always good. It's not like a special penis or anything. It's
Nope.
just a human penis.
So basically, it's really difficult to get a human penis, I guess. Like he's been trying for years and years and years. He's been working on this penis collection for like 40 years.
So what are the other penises in the collection?
Oh, he's got everything.
Are they
Whale
just
pe-
are they just dildos?
No, they're animal
Oh,
penises.
okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
Dildos.
That's why I'm like, seems like a bizarre collection. Okay, so
No,
he has animal penises.
yeah, so he collects penises of mammals. So
Okay.
like hamsters. I think the hamster he said was like the smallest one he had. That was like 2 millimeters, and then the biggest one he had was a sperm whale that was like huge. It was like 400 pounds, and he has just all manner of penises. Except he doesn't have a human penis because apparently it's really difficult to get a human penis
I would
because
hope
you have
so.
to.
I would hope so.
Yeah, it's like you have to find somebody that's willing to donate it and sign off on it, and then that person has to die, and they have to. Apparently, they have to cut the penis off like pretty quickly in order to preserve it, or else it like shrivels away because I don't know because of the blood and stuff.
Oh my God.
So anyway, he finds two people that are willing to donate their penises, and it almost turns into like a competition to see who can get their penis in first. Like the first guy is apparently this really famous man in Iceland, and he's 93, I think, when the movie starts, and he agrees to donate it when he dies. The other guy is an American who's in his 70s, and he wants to have his penis and balls surgically removed.
Oh, he's not gonna wait.
No, he's not going to wait because he decides that he wants to actually go to the museum and admire his penis on display.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All
Yep.
right.
So he explores having his genitals surgically removed. And the thing about this movie is it sounds so bizarre and ridiculous, and it is, but at the same time the main guy that owns this museum is such a lovable guy. Like he's just so nice, and it's like when he talks, it's like, yeah, that's not weird. It's like
Totally
you can just
normal.
accept it.
Totally
You can just
normal.
accept it.
Why not?
And it turns into this really kind of touching story about this man who's been dedicating his whole life to this museum, and he's getting old and he's having some health problems, and he's not sure if he's ever going to be able to get this human specimen. And
Oh,
it's a really heartwarming film,
wow.
surprisingly so.
I mean, it's not it. In all honesty, it sounds less weird than Bronies. I
Yeah.
mean, just completely
Yeah.
being honest, it sounds a lot more
Well,
normal.
this is a much higher quality documentary than Brony's.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
as like a hobby goes.
right, yeah. But the film itself looks amazing. All of the different shots and things are very meticulously done. The music is great. It's a really well made documentary. Very well made, and it takes place in Iceland, so you got plenty of beautiful landscapes to film aside the penises, alongside the penises, because the penises are pretty gross. But
Oh wow.
they'll show a scene of him like preparing one of his specimens, and it's like the most disgusting thing ever. And then they'll cut to a scene of him taking a walk outside.
The
And
beauty,
it's like the most breathtaking scenery.
the beauty and serenity of Iceland.
Yeah, but I mean, I definitely recommend it.
Oh,
It's quite good.
who
It's
knew?
quite good.
Who knew?
Draft House Films is putting this out, and
That sounds about right.
yeah, and it's on demand right now, I believe. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into our first review. We're talking about Broken Hill Blues. This is written and directed by Sophie and Norlin. This is a Swedish film. And the synopsis says, in a small mining community in northern Sweden, a group of youngsters about to take the leap in the adult age fight with themselves and the world around while the ground literally trembles under their feet.
Literally.
So, Kevin, what did you think of Broken Hill Blues?
We can sort of go the same route as what you were just saying with the what was that, the final member that take
Sweden's
it.
beautiful.
Yeah, Sweden is beautiful, especially around that area. Just a lot of the nature scenes that they did, especially at like the end of the movie. You know, where
Yeah.
the one character Daniel is sort of traversing through the woodlands and the mountains. It just looks unbelievable. Outside of that, that's about it. I mean,
I was after I watched it, I was like thinking to myself, okay, what am I gonna say about this movie? All right, well, it looked great. Um, yep.
yeah, that's about it.
So
I
like,
mean, it's slightly interesting in the sense that it takes place in a mining town. You know, they weren't kidding when they're saying that it literally trembles underneath their feet. That's
yeah,
because of
right,
the
right.
mining that they're doing. Because what was it, like an iron mine?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, iron ore mine. So the all the mining that they've done has sort of destroyed the town in a sense that it's sort of crumbling apart, and they
Yeah,
actually have to move the town because they came up with this genius idea to build the town on top of the mine, which doesn't make any sense. But for whatever reason, a lot of places did that. So, and then you also have these kids that are growing up. It takes what, it's like 4 or 5 teenage
mm-hmm.
characters, and it follows them and trying to make their transition into adulthood. And it's slightly interesting considering the fact that what do you do when the only source of employment really is the mine?
Right.
I mean, there's really nothing else because all those jobs are taken. I mean, you pretty much have to wait for someone to die, move out, or get fired in order to get a different job besides the mine. And but it's one of those things that unfortunately we've seen this done before. Maybe not necessarily in this setting, Swedish mining town, but this type of movie, the whole coming of age, where
Yeah,
your
but
options
really,
your options are really slim.
really the like you said, the whole premise where the mine is causing the town to basically sink into the earth, and that's a cool premise. But I felt like, what if they took that out? What if that wasn't a part of the movie? Does it have any effect on what these characters were doing? Because it didn't really seem like it to me. Like, I didn't see the connection between the what was happening with the mine and these kids. Like, you could put these kids into any other town in any other place, and I feel like it wouldn't be that different. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I would
I
I
didn't.
would pretty much agree with you. Yes, it doesn't really have
Other
that
than
strong of an impact on.
of course the direct, like the one kid working at the mine or whatever. Like, other than that,
Yeah, that's about it. It's
I felt like the plot was just kind of meandering. I
mhm.
didn't feel like I ever really got to know any of these characters at all. I didn't feel any kind of connection. I didn't really understand. Like, the one Daniel kid that we mentioned, he didn't really get what he was all about.
Yeah, I have no idea really what he was doing. He
He just seemed like a
obviously has,
dick.
yeah, he obviously has some problems with his dad. Like I get that, his dad's a heavy drinker, sort of not really doing anything. So I can understand resentment and sort of general anger towards your father. I guess that pushes him into that weird gang that he's a part of, which I don't even know what they do. They just like break into people's houses when they
Just
answer
run
the
around.
door. You got, that Swedish guy doing his, I did the white man Tai Chi, whatever the hell that was.
Yeah, that was weird.
And then Daniel just packs up his shotgun and goes out into the woods and then shoots a reindeer.
Oh, that
Immediately,
was
immediately regrets it
yeah.
and tries to save the reindeer,
That'd
which,
be me. I would shoot an animal and then immediately regret it and try to save it.
which the only thing that I can say here, again, admittedly so, but I don't know much about Swedish history, culture, the northern parts of, Sweden and Norway and all that. And I guess that plays into these Sami people who are like the indigenous
Hmm.
tribe that play out there. So I think there's some things that are lost through there, as there was only one connection that sort of pieced together, and I don't know if maybe having some more background would help me with this, but when they were at the museum and they're sort of talking about how the guy had in his stomach like a couple berries and such, and he fell into the bog, and that's where he died. And that seems to be what sort of happens to Daniel,
Right.
but he's
Yeah, he
he's
eats the
saved,
berries.
but he's saved by the little kids, like the
Hmm.
four little kids drag him out of there. But I mean, that just didn't seem that much either, to be
Yeah, that
quite
was
honest.
there's just not a lot to hold on to with
No.
this movie. There's not a lot to talk about. The plot it doesn't really exist. It just kind of meanders through the lives of these people, and sometimes that's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes just kind of a slice of life type thing is fine, but I just didn't find any of these people that interesting.
No,
Like
there wasn't much personality coming out on
yeah,
screen
I mean
here.
like some of them barely even talked at all.
Yeah.
It was just so
Yeah.
I just wasn't thrilled about the one scene that I did like. It was just a little thing was when they had the camera on the back of the reindeer when they were showing them like herding the reindeer.
Yeah. That
I
was
don't know why, but I just liked that sequence.
well, that's another thing that, just doing small bit of research before we recorded here about the Sami people. And apparently that's one of their big things is they're reindeer herders. And they're really like the only ones that are allowed to. Sort of my understanding was that they're the only ones that are allowed to hoard reindeers or herd them.
I
So I
wonder if
don't know if
that
that would, if what what that played in with Daniel shooting a reindeer and then immediately trying to save him and then all that stuff. But
hmm.
it does have that sort of like that scene. There's a lot of scenes where it feels like a documentary,
Yeah, like
and
the scenes in the mine when they showed the footage from inside the mine.
mhm. And
That
it's
looked
they're just like
I'm
weaving the two,
hmm.
the documentary
Well,
and the fictional part of the narrative.
yeah, like I'm sure that the footage from inside the mine, you could tell that that wasn't for the movie. That
Yeah.
was like real footage.
But yeah, like you said, because as soon as I was finished with it, I was just like, fuck. What do you talk about?
Yeah, there's just not a lot to talk about with this movie because the characters were pretty boring. The story doesn't really go anywhere. It just kind of ends. It begins and it ends,
Yeah.
and there's just not a lot there. It's unfortunate. I mean, it does look great.
Yeah,
So
and that was the only thing. I mean, even up until the part where Daniel goes out on his little expedition, up until that point, I didn't even think it looked that good. Like the only shots that would really impress me were like the far away up high shots of the town. I was like, oh, that's an impressive shot. But everything else was just, sort of boring. I've seen that before. And then finally,
yeah.
when Daniel gets out there, it's like, okay, yeah, this looks good. I like
What's
this.
it's interesting because it's almost as if the movie completely changes when that happens because
Yeah.
there's like far more like of the like we talked about Joe the close up nature shots and stuff as soon as he leaves
hmm
and it's almost as if they decided to just switch up how they were filming.
Yeah, it seems like there's something here, but the way it was presented wasn't interested enough to make me really dig into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't feel like spending the time because I wasn't impressed. I
and
wasn't interested. It wasn't compelling.
right. And I like usually I like movies that take place in broken down mining towns. Again, going back to
That's your thing.
my, that's my thing. I mean, I the whole time I was thinking about Centralia, Pennsylvania. The Silent Hill town where
Yeah.
it was a fire that started in that town, but it was a similar situation where the mine was underneath the town. It caught fire. It's still burning to this day, and I went to visit it, and it was crazy. But so immediately I was thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like this movie. Mining town, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there just wasn't a lot there for me.
Yeah.
Felt very indie.
Oh
A
yeah.
lot of back of the head tracking shots.
Oh yeah. Got a lot of that going on. Like you said, there's just not much to talk about, and that's not good. That's
It's
to me.
it's almost worse
Yeah.
than saying negative things
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. That's almost a film really having no effect on you,
Right, yeah.
except that I'm like, oh, Sweden's beautiful too.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
great.
it's all I got, really.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I don't know if so this just played Tribeca this week, earlier this week. I don't know as far as distribution yet, so keep an eye out.
Yeah.
But just don't expect a lot out of this. Ultimately, pretty forgettable.
Definitely.
Like I forgot large chunks of this movie already.
I did.
And I just watched it last night.
Yeah, I did as well, and I just watched it literally like maybe 4 hours ago. So yeah, not a lasting impact.
Well, let's segue that into one that, at least for me, did have a lasting impact, and that's Zack Parker's new film, Proxy, which is playing in limited release and video on demand. I'm pretty sure it's on demand right now. Either way, I have a summary for that. While walking home from her latest OB appointment, a very pregnant Esther Woodhouse is brutally attacked and disfigured by a hooded assailant. This horrible event seems to be a blessing in disguise when Esther finds consolation in a support group. Her life of sadness and solitude is opened up to a friendship, understanding, and even acceptance. However, friendship and understanding can be very dangerous things when accepted by the wrong people. First of all, I just saw a trailer for this for the first time, and it's a fantastic trailer.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you saw the trailer for this.
I did not see the trailer for it.
So I wrote the review for the site on this. So we'll start with you, Kevin. What did you think of Proxy?
Oh, Proxy is, in one word, ambitious. Say that it's definitely ambitious. It tries to do a lot. I think some of it does well. Others it sort of stumbles in other portions, other aspects
Agreed.
of it. Biggest glaring problem with the film, unfortunately, is Joe Swanberg. Should just Joe Swanberg should not be acting seriously
I don't think he's
in any movie. I'm sorry. Just
he's a
stop.
good comedic actor.
It's
The
good.
thing about Swanberg is he was really good in You're Next. He played kind of a comedic character in You're Next.
He does a really good job in that small contained cameo for where he just brings a little
Right.
comedy to it, a little bit of levity. In this setting, as like one of the emotional backbones of the story, no, it doesn't work.
Didn't work.
Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that was fine. I barely ever look at acting in a movie. Like I can so easily look past acting. I mean, it's got to be horrendous for me to really be affected by it. But I can see where you're coming from.
That got me. And I think maybe it was amplified a little bit because it's Joe Swanberg. Like if it was just
Right.
some no-name guy, I would just
Right,
be like,
exactly.
oh,
But since it's a name you
yeah.
know, and
it's
yeah.
it's just Swanberg. You're like, no, what are you doing? Just stick to directing films.
So this is directed by the guy that did Scalene, which is another, I would say, pretty ambitious film.
Yes.
I really like what Zack Parker's doing. Like I feel like he's taking risks. I feel like he's kind of doing his own thing in the business. He's making interesting stories. And the thing about this movie, I read the synopsis. The synopsis is not at all
No.
really what the movie is
No.
in the slightest bit. And that's kind of the interesting thing about this movie is that if you go into it cold like I did, I knew nothing about this movie, you'll find yourself being like, what the hell is going on here? Because, maybe at the midway point, maybe even before that, it takes this huge
Yeah,
tonal
yeah,
shift.
it's pretty early.
And you're just like, wait a minute, what? Wait, how long is this movie?
It kind of, yeah. Well, he sort of goes the martyrs route, where he sort of just throws you a huge curveball because you think one character is, and even that maybe is giving too much away.
Yeah, you can't
Yeah,
give too much away.
yeah, because you think one person
It's
is the main character, and then next thing you know, you're just like, okay, well, where are we going from here? What's the story
there.
now?
Yeah, but the thing that I liked and found most intriguing about this movie is just how many twists and turns. Because you think it's going to go one way, and then all of a sudden you're just like, wait a minute, no, not going that way. Okay, so maybe it's about this person, and then something else happens. You're like, just holy shit, what is going on here? It's a crazy movie. It really is.
See, it's a bit, the only other thing is my first, I mean, just the first thought straight out the gate is as soon as the movie starts, I just go, oh my God, this is the fakest looking pregnant stomach I've ever seen in my life. And I couldn't get past that. That was tough to get past. But luckily that doesn't last too long.
No, it doesn't last long.
Um, the
Uh,
it feels a lot like De Palma. A lot,
yeah,
even like
I can see that.
even the
Absolutely.
music, like the music is
Mm-hmm.
just it's too much at times, but I understand why he's doing it that way. But it I hope from this point on that sort of stops. Stop with the
Mm-hmm.
De Palma love or homage
You
or
can
whatever
see
you
that
want
in
to go.
Scalene too,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, I had a problem with it in Scalene too. Now, the differences between the two here is Scalene was like we said, they're both ambitious. Scalene was a bit messy when it came to the narrative, but the narrative was more interesting, I thought. I thought it was, better story, more captivating. Here, everything's cleaned up. It's very
Mm-hmm.
it's very polished. It's meticulously crafted the way it goes through, but to me it was a less interesting story. Now that's just from my opinion.
Well, I think that maybe, at least for me, part of that is with Scalene, you know what it's about. You don't know how they're going to get there. You don't know what the end result is going to be, but you know what's happening. Like you know where they're going with it. You don't know how they're going to get there. You don't know what exactly happened. But with Proxy, it's like they just continuously throw you curveballs, and you never know what's going on.
Partially. Now, unfortunately, I could tell right away through the first scene. See, it's tough to talk about because you don't want to give it away.
Yeah, I mean, other than beyond the main character being attacked, like there's really nothing else you can say.
Because through the first scene, I knew something was up there because I've never seen someone
Right.
so
Well, yeah.
disinterested in having a pregnancy.
Yeah.
And then the support group, I immediately knew something was up there because that just seemed off.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. There's clues. There's little clues planted in with how the characters act and things like that. But like the first scene when she's following her and she's missing her child at the store or whatever. At that point, I was like, okay, wait a minute. There's something off here. Something's going on. And from that point, that's when it starts getting a little weird.
Getting a little weird. A better synopsis would be two women are addicted to attention.
Yeah.
There you go. That's all you need to know. Seeing that right there ruined the movie. So ignore that. I didn't say that.
Well, no, I mean, I think that doesn't give away anything, but people that have already seen the movie will be like, "Yep, that's it."
Yeah.
But overall, loved it. Well, no, I didn't love it. I'm sorry. It's one of those movies that
tone it down. Pull it back. Pull it
yeah,
back.
I get a little too excited. The thing about it is it's a movie that I'm several weeks removed from it now, and I've grown more fond of it over that time. So, it's a movie that I sat with it for a while, and I certainly like it more than I did initially. That's not to say I didn't like it initially, but I like it more
Yeah.
now.
I think Zach Parker's getting there. Um,
Oh yeah.
the the main thing that I still see as a problem is still that indie pacing, especially with like the dialogue between the characters. Where it's just so slow moving,
Yeah, it
and
is.
people like wait entirely too long to respond to the other person. It's just like speed it up a little bit. Come on, come on.
It
There's
is.
no reason this should be 2 hours. Let's go.
It is a pretty slow moving film. It does pick up at certain points. The slow motion bathroom scene I thought was incredible. I
I
loved that
I
scene.
thought it was hilarious the second time. There's sort of a
Hmm.
visual marker that tells you something has happened, and you're just like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden, just a huge thing of blood just right in
Yeah,
someone's face, and you're like, oh, okay.
yeah,
All right. I don't know if it would play out that way, but I see what you're doing.
yeah. I thought that looked great. I thought overall the movie looked quite good too visually.
Yeah, it was. I think the look of it was a lot better than his last movie. Everything's moving up a notch. He's progressing,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
I just had too many problems with it. I didn't
Uh,
enjoy myself too much. I mean,
I enjoyed it.
I'm not gonna
I
tear it apart, but
No,
like
I
you said,
mean,
he's taking risks. So I appreciate that.
yeah, I mean this is anything but a typical Hollywood movie. It's not a typical horror movie either. I mean, it's it's barely a horror movie. It's kind of a mashup. I mean, it's part thriller, part horror, part drama,
Yeah.
with it's very interesting, and I like the characters and how these various things affect the characters and where they go. And like you said, I like the concept of these two women feeling this insatiable hunger for attention.
Yeah.
I like that concept, and I think that they handled the idea of obsession and attention getting,
I
attention seeking in interesting
I
ways.
especially like the way they handled it at the end
Hmm.
with the one where you think you sort of think the movie's over and that they're in the future,
Right,
and
right.
then it cuts back and you're like, oh shit, yeah, this is really messed up.
Yep.
And I would say, like we pointed out before, the De Palma influences are in there. And I will say, and I can say this, that he's definitely a lot better than De Palma. I'll give him that.
Uh,
I think he's doing De Palma better than De Palma.
yeah. I mean, especially, well, definitely recent,
Even
recent
some
to Palma.
even some old De Palma. I mean, did have you seen Sisters? God,
I don't think
that's a
so.
fucking laugh riot.
Yeah. Well, either way, I'd say if you want to see a very interesting, different suspense thriller, I would check out Proxy.
If you have kids and or like kids, it's gonna be rough.
Oh,
Let's just give you that
oh
disclaimer.
my God.
It's
Yeah,
gonna be rough.
that is something to mention. It is it's a pretty rough movie to get
It's
through.
yeah, this is not kid friendly at all.
No.
It's not. I mean, boy, good Lord.
Yeah. I mean, the poster kind of lets you know
I know
what you're in
but
for.
I wasn't ready for the thing that came later. I
Mhm.
thought it sort of stopped there. Like,
Yep.
okay, that was the rough part. I got through it.
Yeah, there's more.
Yeah, then when the other one's getting sort of set up, you're like, nah, no, they're not going that way, are they?
Oh, they go
And
that
then
way.
yeah, then you realize you're like, oh Jesus.
Yeah, so I would check out Proxy. I don't even remember what I rated it. I think I gave it like a seven, maybe seven or seven and a
Seven?
half.
Seven?
I
Uh,
gave it a 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
I will say that's quite high.
Yeah, I mean, I bumped it up. I think my initial review was a 7, and I ended up kicking it up a notch.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I give it like a five,
Good a 5. Wow.
5.5. But
Pretty low.
I might go 5.5.
5.5, still low.
Still pretty low, yeah.
That's a 55%.
That's a 55%. You are correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did you give Scalene?
What did I give Scalene? I think Scalene was
6.
6.5.
If I remember correctly, because we reviewed it on the show.
Yeah, Scalene was much better in my opinion.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
another big positive for Scaling was the acting. I thought the acting was much better than Proxy.
yeah, some of the acting, I can't remember who. There were a few characters, like minor characters in this movie that were awful.
Hmm.
Like just
Hmm.
awful.
The cop at the very beginning,
That's who I was thinking of.
which is funny because the cop at the very beginning is just, I mean, terrible. Just, I'm sorry, but just woeful. And then the person that follows him, the social worker, she nails it. Like she does it.
Yeah.
I just thought that she was a social worker.
Yeah, she sounded really natural.
Yeah. It was just like, wow, that's a huge juxtaposition there between quality.
Yeah.
And to have it back to back sort
Well,
of amplified it, I think.
I'm gonna recommend checking out Proxy just because I think it looks great. I like the narrative. I mean, I like the twists and turns, and I just
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm with you. To me, it's still a recommend. Mostly because it's different.
yeah
I can't stress that
so
enough when you do so many of these indie films that you go into these horror thriller type deals, they just always end up boiling down to the same thing. Like they start off strong, they have the atmosphere and everything. You're like, all right, this is gonna be great. But they usually just fall back into the same old, same old.
yep, I agree.
That does not happen here.
All right, let's talk about some predictions. So last week I kind of fucked up, and I read off this week's movies. So
I love when that happens.
yeah, so because I didn't write it down beforehand, that was the problem. And
Uh,
it on Rotten Tomatoes, I guess on Sundays it switches the listings to like what's coming up. So I read those off. Anyway, I do have some numbers here. I'll just read them off. We didn't predict them. Transcendence got a 20%. Ouch.
wow.
Yeah,
No,
I heard that.
A lot of bad things.
Yeah, it bombed. Like it didn't make any money either. So, yikes. Heaven is for Real, 53%.
Wow.
Haunted House 2 got a 7%. Oh,
That I didn't even know about that.
didn't even know about that one.
I did not know that that was happening.
Disney's Bears got an 89%.
Well, because they're bears.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good.
How do you not like bears?
Exactly. And Fading Gigolo, which is the one with Woody Allen and John Turturro, directed by John Turturro also, that got a 58. I wasn't interested in that one.
I was slightly interested.
Just to recap, next week we have The Other Woman, and I said 35, you predicted 32 on that. And Brick Mansions, I said 25, you said 37. Are you going to stick with those numbers?
I'm gonna stick with them.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with mine too. Next week on DVD and Blu-ray, Whole Lot of Nothing.
All
I don't know
right.
if you saw the list. Big Bad Wolves comes out, and the only other one that I want to mention is William Friedkin's Sorcerer is coming out.
Ooh,
They remastered it, and that's
nice.
going to be coming out on DVD and Blu-ray. Highly recommend picking that one up. I want to see that
I've
on
been
Blu-ray. I'm excited.
I've been wanting to see that one for a while. I've been holding out until because I knew talking with you that they were restoring it.
Yeah,
So I've been waiting patiently.
I can't wait to see it. I'm a huge fan of that movie. I think that
Nice.
there's at least one Criterion
Well, we got two.
too.
We got Don Siegel's 1954 Riot in Cell Block 11, High Octane, Maximum Security Penitentiary. Apparently, there's a riot. And of course, we have Carl Theodor Dreyer's 1925 Master of the House.
Of course. Of course we have that. Why wouldn't we have that?
Exactly.
So, yeah, kind of a sparse week.
Yeah.
I would recommend checking out Blue Ruin on video on demand.
Yes. I'm excited for that.
Well, I think that'll wrap it up. For all the latest film news and reviews, visit us at filmpulse.net. Send us your questions to podcast@filmpulse.net. We'll be sure to answer them on the show. Follow us on Twitter @filmpulse.net and be sure to rate us on iTunes. We appreciate that very much. For filmpulse.net, my name is Adam.
My name is Kevin, and I also want to point out that today is Crispin Glover's birthday. Crispin Glover has turned 50 today.
Oh, wow.
Keep that in mind.
Well, we'll see you on Thursday for Ryan Watches a Movie. Crispin Glover's birthday.
Crispin Glover. I wonder if someone's making him a sandwich for his birthday.
I would love to make Crispin Glover a nice club sandwich for his birthday.